The term Mississippi appendectomy refers to a deeply unethical practice where Black women were sterilized without their consent or knowledge. This was often done under the pretext that they were undergoing an appendectomy or other routine surgical procedures. Essentially, these women went into surgery thinking they were receiving treatment for one condition, only to come out having been deprived of their ability to have children. This practice was alarmingly common in the 20th century and targeted African American women, reflecting the broader issues of racial and gender discrimination in medical treatment. The long-term consequences of these involuntary sterilizations were devastating. Physically, the women harmed by this practice lost their reproductive rights and capacities, often without even realizing it until they later tried to conceive. Psychologically, the impact was equally harmful, leading to feelings of betrayal, depression, and a profound loss of agency over their own bodies. 3. The Holmesburg Prison Experiments. Between 1951 and 1974, at Holmesburg Prison in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a horrifying injustice unfolded. Prisoners there were subjected to a series of gruesome and risky tests on their skin. The prison administration allowed researchers to use inmates as human guinea pigs, exposing them to dangerous substances like dioxin, a super-toxic chemical, herpes viruses, and even cancer-causing agents. All in the name of observing what would happen. Imagine someone applying harmful substances to your skin just to see how it reacts, without your full understanding of the risks involved. That's the nightmarish reality these prisoners faced, and it raises serious ethical concerns about how they were treated. The main issue with these experiments wasn't solely the hazardous materials being tested, but also the lack of transparency about what was being done, and the associated risks. Imagine being offered a new snack without being warned. It might make you seriously ill. That's unacceptable, because everyone has the right to fully understand what they're consenting to, especially when it involves potential harm. This situation exploited the prisoner's vulnerability and lack of power to refuse participation. 4. The Cincinnati Radiation Experiments. The 1960s saw a disturbing misuse of science in Cincinnati. Doctors carried out several experiments that flagrantly transgressed ethical standards because they were curious about how radiation affected the human body. Patients battling cancer, trusting their doctors, were unknowingly subjected to excessive radiation exposure. This wasn't a treatment. It was a calculated risk, a means to an end. The doctors prioritized learning about radiation's impact on soldiers and astronauts over the well-being of their patients. This pursuit of knowledge, however, came at a grave cost. The people in these experiments were mostly poor and lacked access to quality healthcare options. Desperate for treatment, they placed their trust in these doctors, believing they were receiving genuine cancer care. Tragically, this trust was shattered. Instead of treatment, they became unwitting subjects in a dangerous experiment. Excessive radiation exposure, far exceeding any therapeutic benefit, puts their health at further risk. Deceived and unable to give informed consent, they endured not only physical harm but also the emotional trauma of betrayal. The very people entrusted with their care had violated that trust, subjecting them to a terrifying and potentially life-threatening ordeal.
That's a wrap, History Seekers. Catch the full story on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Peace and love.